I, 50, got the biggest heartbreak of my life when I found out that my high school sweetheart turned wife cheated on me and that her children Jack, 21, and Jill, 21, weren't mine. They were 2 years old at the time and I couldn't handle it, so I left. Because they were born within the marriage, I was legally the father and resented paying child support because it was basically the government rewarding my ex for her lies. I wanted to no contact with the children, but didn't begrudge my mom for still wanting a relationship, but I did stop talking to her for 6 months after she tried to trick me into reconciliation. I only let her back in my life after swore to never betray me again, and with the perfect understanding that she would be dead to me if she ever tried again. Later on I moved on and found a woman who was willing to accept me in spite of my baggage, and we had a wonderful marriage. I was heartbroken the day she died and pressed on because I knew I had to be there for my children Miranda, 18, and Joe, 16. I started a business and did fairly well for myself. I never talked about my ex-wife or her kids, so I developed this reputation of being a doting father and successful man. I never bragged about it, but rather it was something that was pushed onto me that I tried to downplay. After my ex's kids turned 18, I double-checked with my lawyers and they said that I was in the clear, didn't have to pay for any more support. Jack and Jill reached out to me, wanting contact and requesting financial assistance as they had plans for college. I calmly told them no and to never contact me again, and even had my lawyers send out a letter explaining that I was free of any more obligation to them. Jack and Jill were both upset and confronted me each on their own way. Jack went to my place of business, yelled about how I was a horrible father who abandoned his children, while Jill went on social media to badmouth me and my business and got many of her friends to write horrible reviews. Their actions hurt my reputation and cost me a lucrative contract, so I decided to file a lawsuit. Turns out their mom let them believe that I was their dad, and my own mother never thought about setting the record straight. We did another DNA test. First one was done during the divorce, verifying that I'm not their dad, and I now have case against them. I've yet to receive an apology from Jack or Jill, but their mom is begging me not to continue with the lawsuit. I said I'd only do it if she paid me a specific amount, and when she said she couldn't afford it, I countered that she could if she sold her house. She said that she and her family would have no home, but I don't see how that's my problem, since this was her mess to begin with. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot, although this is a horrible situation all around. In the end, I will say, though, that the real idiot is their mother, who should have, at some point, told them truth about you. Although I don't think forcing her to sell her house is in anyone's best interest. This is where you become a bit of an idiot. Something like that is only going to cause you further grief, and it seems like the best thing for you is to just not have these people in your life anymore. Everyone's the idiot here. Do you really think that going after these two and winning a lawsuit that will encumber them for years to come is the way you want to live your life? Is this the kind of story you want your children to hear about you? No matter how you present your case, your children are closer in age to Jack and Jill and will wonder about their father's vindictiveness. Think long and hard if you are so willing to take revenge and spend thousands in lawsuits. Be aware that your desire for revenge can have a chilling effect on your business. What will your customers think about your actions in this pursuit? Not the idiot. You have provided your ex with a negotiated settlement offer that would cover your economic loss, which is directly due to her actions. Actions have consequences, and she could have at least told the children the truth before they defamed you and caused significant economic loss. If you sue the children, you would probably win, but it is unlikely that you will ever collect any money. You would have to enforce the judgment, which is difficult to do since they would not have any significant assets at this point. My boyfriend and I purchased my grandfather's 40-acre farm 2 years ago from family for $400,000, $10,000 an acre, a little high for 2018 farm ground prices, but the sentimental value was there. In the purchase agreement, it specifically stated that the land, buildings, and all personal property were included in the purchase price. There were no favors given buying this from family. We were the ones with the highest offer. My grandfather has been dead since 2014. He left behind a huge mess for the family to clean up. When I say a huge mess, about 20 acres of vehicles, scrap metal, falling down buildings, etc. Over the last 2 years, we have been cleaning up what we could to make the place an actual farm again. We grow crops, have animals, and our own farm equipment. Recently, we've been cleaning out the barns to pick our equipment in, and my dad, my grandpa's son, has been coming unglued because we are scrapping and selling what we can to make room for our stuff. How would have thought, buying a place and wanting to use the buildings. Anything I do is a problem, and he complains to my boyfriend who is working right beside me wanting to get our place useful again. My thinking is, we bought a farm for top dollar with all contents included and we're able to sell whatever we want with no remorse. If anything of importance was there, they should have been removed before even listing the place for sale, regardless of being family or not. Not the idiot. Anything he is complaining about you getting rid of, he is welcome to offer a competitive bid on just as you did, and I would phrase it exactly that way. If he is not living under your roof, then don't let him drop by, and if he drops by when he is unexpected, tell him that you're busy and you'll see him another time, and then escort him off the property. Had the same thing happen with me and my family when I inherited my grandfather's house. And every one of my grandfather's kids had even signed a paper stating that it was okay for me to get the house and everything in it and on the property, but as soon as I started cleaning and emptying, they came out of the woodwork to lay claim to things they meant was for them or was theirs. Here's the reality. If every little piece of metal on that farm were precious to him, he should have bought the farm. He could have even come negotiate with you about withdrawing your offer if he couldn't afford more than you, like let me buy it and I'll will it to you or something. He could have asked you to include him in the cleanup process so he could keep certain sentimental things. He could have communicated. He didn't. He failed himself. That's his problem. Not yours. If he wants you to give him something, or even for you to keep something particular on the farm, he can come to you with respect and discuss it with you like an adult, not throw a tantrum over it like a 4 years old. Not the idiot. Me, 27, and Phil, 32, have been married for 3 years. We both have families who want to be first in everything. Phil read me an article about boundaries and encouraged me to set boundaries for both families. I agreed and we made progress. As the birth of our son approached, we handled the family's requests. Both moms wanted to be in the room, we said no. Both dads wanted first photo with a baby, but we said no till they agree. Both families wanted to be at the hospital to see our son, but we said no, then agreed to host a gathering on Tuesday, where both families get to see our son at the same time for the first time. No pics, posts or video calls till then since I needed to recover. Everything was going well. It started when Phil secretly took a picture of our son and sent it to his family. It blew up, everyone tagged everyone on Facebook. Mom and family saw not only the picture, but posts my in-laws made saying we won in the end, or our grandson chose us and 1-0. Mother-in-law lied about taking the picture herself at the hospital. Mom called crying saying Phil leaked and shared pic of our son and violated the agreement both families had. Dad said that on top of the defeat they had to deal with the propaganda and emotional stress from in-laws. I was fuming. I asked Phil if he sent his family a picture of our son hours ago. He said, jokingly, well, no. I blew up at him saying we had an agreement and me and family respected it, but he and family on the other hand were humiliating my family, ruining their joy and rubbing the fact that they got to be the first to see our son in their face. He said, so what? My family should quit being overdramatic when crap don't go their way. I said his family are the ones with the overdramatic passive-aggressive attitude. I showed him every post and tag they made and asked if he'd be happy if my family did this. He scrolled for a couple minutes nodding and looking impressed. He said all he did was innocently sent mom a picture since she couldn't stop calling, hassling and begging him for one picture. I said he still violated our agreement to not share photos till Tuesday, and this way his family will never respect the boundaries we try to set. I asked if those boundaries were just for my family, to keep them at arm's length, while obviously favoring his. He said, that's my son, I have the authority to send a picture of him to whomever I please. Okay. Your family. The entire lot of them can either shut the hell up and get over it or wait for your sister to miraculously give them a baby. We argued some more and I refused to drop it. He said I overreacted, blew his joy, and made a big deal out of it just cause my family has nothing better to do than cry woe is me, and wrapped up by saying I clearly was enmeshed, too deep in the fog and needed to cut the damn cord already. I'm thinking I might have been harsh. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. He literally picked the moment you have needed him the most, one of your most vulnerable moments, and stabbed you in the back. Also the audacity of acting all bravado and trying to convince you are the one wrong. No, he just showed you that his needs of pleasing mommy are way more important than his pregnant wife who literally just gave birth. But looking at his family reaction, honestly, what can one expect from that bloodline? Everyone's the idiot here. Both your families are terrible. If this is the kind of chaos that happens from a leaked baby picture, I can't even imagine the nightmare the holidays will be. Your husband was an idiot for sending a picture to just his family. His family are idiots for posting your child's picture on Facebook without your permission. Your families are idiots for making competitions out of insignificant milestones and seeing a photo as humiliation. Do you all really have so little going on that you are spending the moments after your child is born fighting over a Facebook post? I feel sorry for that kid. It will be like living with the paparazzi. Honestly, I don't understand the whole "I got the first picture of the baby" thing. If this is your first child, I'm sure there will be a ton of pictures to go around. But a simple solution could have been to put all 6 of you guys in a group thread and send the picture there. As far as you and your husband go, you guys had an agreement. He, as your husband, should have respected that, regardless of anything else. He's not only disrespecting the boundary set for your families, but he's also disrespecting the hell out of you. I live in a corner house and share a communal front area with a corner house next door. It's hard to explain, but we both have separate fenced-off front gardens. My neighbor's garden is and has always been full of children's toys because she's a childminder, which is fine. The kids often run into my garden, which is annoying, and I ask her not to let them, but she says she can't watch them all the time to stop this, so I've got to expect them to get into my front garden at times. There's a small entrance that isn't fenced off, and it's how I get into my garden. Without showing a Google Map view, it's hard to explain it anymore. I've been going to agility with my dogs and said to my husband it would be good to put agility equipment in the back garden, but it's too small due to the sheds, BBQ, etc. He said, why don't I use the front garden as it's bigger than the back garden anyway? So I bought some equipment and set up a course. I have a temporary gate to cover the entrance so the dogs can't escape. It's been going great and the dogs love the extra exercise. Today my neighbor came to my door extremely angry, saying the agility equipment has to go. I asked why and she said one of the children moved the gate, as they apparently do all the time when I'm not home, climbed up the A-frame, fell and sprained his wrist. His mother is extremely pissed at my neighbor and wants an explanation why he was in my garden in the first place. My neighbor said she can't keep her eyes on the children at all times, and I'm creating an unsafe environment by having this equipment lying around, so it has to go so she can go back to living her normal life while looking after the children. I told her no, it's my property, and I've already told her the children aren't allowed in the garden. She's already went to a few other neighbors and got them on her side, and they are making me wonder if I'm an idiot for putting my dogs before children I don't even know. Not the idiot. If her job is to watch those children, then maybe she should either 1. Watch them, or 2. Make her property actually child safe so they can't run around trespassing on neighbors' property. If she doesn't want to do either of those things, then she should probably at least take some responsibility for that kid getting hurt while she was in charge and stop watching them in the future. You didn't agree to watch the children, your yard isn't required to be child safe, and you're not responsible for people who ignore the gate so they can trespass. If she allows the children to spend time in the yard without supervision, then it's her responsibility to install better fences and gates to make sure the children don't go anywhere they're not supposed to. A sprained ankle is bad, but imagine if a child wandered into your yard and got bit by one of your dogs. Or got injured more seriously on your property. Your neighbor needs to do a better job making sure the children are safe under her watch. That's not your responsibility. Not the idiot. But, you may be legally liable for any injuries on your property, regardless of whether the children had failed to be properly supervised. You would be well advised to ensure that there is a proper locking gate and remove any small openings to ensure that they can't access the attractive doggy play gear. It is called the attractive nuisance. For instance, you leave a ladder up against the side of your house, someone climbs up it, falls off, and is injured. They can sue you for damages and medical bills. It wouldn't matter, even if you had a sign that says, "Don't climb the ladder," you would still be liable. My company has a yearly BBQ, and after skipping last year I got like 7 requests for my mango tart. Every time I bring it, it gets eaten immediately, and everyone always mentions how much they like it, so I didn't want to disappoint. My coworker sent group email saying her daughter was allergic to mangoes and some other things, not allergic to being around mangoes, just eating it. She never told anyone not to bring any, but to warn everyone of cross-contamination. I emailed back to ask if she was allergic to strawberries and she said no, so I made mango tart and strawberry tart for her. I put the mango tart in a separate cooler and put it in the back so her child couldn't grab it. The coworker and her daughter came and saw the strawberry tart and she gave one to her daughter, but her daughter saw the huge number of people at the mango tart cooler and wanted one of those. She said no, you are allergic, so it's bad for you, and her daughter started crying and throwing a tantrum. She took her back to their car and rejoined us later once her daughter had calmed down. I got an email this morning of her proclaiming how insensitive I was for bringing mango tart when I knew her daughter couldn't have some and making her feel like she wasn't included. I'm shocked because I made strawberry tart just for her daughter and made precautions to make sure she wouldn't be exposed, but am I the idiot for bringing mango tart? Not the idiot. You went above and beyond by making a strawberry tart for her daughter. That's incredibly considerate. Your coworker and her daughter should know how to navigate allergies, especially because it seems like she has a number of common items she is allergic to. It's not your fault that the daughter threw a temper tantrum. Still, at the age of 6, I'm surprised she did, especially considering she likely has been in this very scenario multiple times due to her allergies. None of this is your fault. You went out of your way to make the strawberry tarts, especially for her daughter. Which is the exact opposite to her claim of your insensitivity. I would forward the email to HR and state that her behavior has made you feel uncomfortable. Your coworker shouldn't be emailing you like this over mango tarts. It was a work gathering, open to coworkers and families. Why should her child's allergies limit what food was brought to the gathering? My 3-year-old has a slight tomato reaction. Not enough for an anaphylactic reaction, but enough to make her uncomfortable. When we're with family or friends, and they have things like ketchup or tomato sauce, we just remind her she can't have it because it makes her feel itchy. Just like how I can't eat some foods because I get a reaction from gluten. She accepts that answer and moves on. It's always nice and appreciated when someone makes sure to have an alternative for us, but we don't expect it. You went out of your way to make something special for her, and they were ungrateful for it.